This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warren, Power Tank, and Medical Gear Outfitters.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 285, a year in review.
Tonight, Aaron's house is hydrolocked, Ben orders new gear, and the prodigal son returns.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Tonight, Ben is out and I, Jeremy, am in, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Aaron and Ben. And welcome to the show.
Yeah.
This Week in Review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you're going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. And while you're there, use the code Off-Road Podcast for 10% off. What is going on over there? Is that a bag of chips, Aaron?
There we go. I'm trying to get my IFAC out real quick. There's my IFAC. Medical Gear Outfitters. There's your plug.
It definitely sounded like a bag of chips. That was just Aaron trying to show off his gear. Did you get that for Christmas?
No, I've had it for a bit.
Well, you just were so excited. I thought it had to be new. So let's start off with Aaron. What have you been up to?
I think the IFAC comes out easier when it's attached to your waist or something like that.
I would say so.
Yeah.
At least,
Let's see here.
yeah, at least you wanted to, because you just spent like 5 of your 30 seconds bleeding out to try
I
to
was,
out.
Yeah, exactly. And I elevated my heart rate, so it's pumping the blood out even faster.
Yeah, that's 2 things you don't want to be doing.
Nope. Let's see. I worked on my plate carrier over the weekend. I'm trying to get it all dialed in for how I like my stuff and my places and things like that. I got to go shooting the day after Christmas with family, which was a really fun time. 10 of us went up in the woods. Can't shoot on my property right now because it is a swamp. But yeah, we went up and shot some pistols and rifles and had a really good time doing that. Trying to break in my AR-10 and that Glock that I built, or P80 that I built. And then while I was up in Washington gathering with family against every governor's rules in the nation, we popped over to my wife's grandparents, and he's the grandpa that I'm planning to buy that Dodge diesel truck from. And got to see the truck, and it wasn't what I remembered. It is a regular cab. It is not an extra cab. I knew it wasn't a 4-door, but I thought it was an extra cab. So I'm so bummed because he's, as far as I know, he's the only owner of that truck. It's got low miles, well maintained, and he's a grandpa and he took good care of it. He is very mechanically minded and did maintenance to it. He was an auto body repair guy. So super bummed that truck isn't going to work out for me. So got to figure something else out.
Can you cab swap it?
I briefly considered that, but to cab swap it, I'd probably have to put a shorter bed on it. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you could put a cab and a short bed on it, and if that would all work out, or if it's a different wheelbase. So
You got to weld. You can make anything work.
I could. That'd be a lot of work, and it would turn out ugly.
That's fair.
Just do a flatbed. Call it good.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Just do a flatbed.
I like the idea of a flatbed, but it already has a grandpa canopy on it and an 8-foot bed, and storage and dry storage at that is a wonderful thing.
And if you want to keep that, I guess you can't do that.
Yep. I guess if I chop the frame and extended the frame and put a new driveline in it.
Yeah, but then you're talking a custom drive line because they probably didn't make a long bed quad cab.
Yeah.
Just silly.
So bummed about that. So I was probably going to spend around $8,000 for that truck. And I showed my wife what 8 grand buys you on the market for something that can tow 10,000 pounds. And
It
it's
ain't
terrible. The trucks are 25 years old. They're dented all over the place. The interiors are nasty, and they've got 250,000 plus miles on them. So, yeah, she's not
Yeah.
too excited about that.
Yeah, I was when you had mentioned it in our group chat, I was looking around. And I'm like, it really isn't that good of an option, and it's not like
Mm-mm.
you can get like an F-150. You need what, at least minimum an F-250 or
Yeah,
2500.
I need a 3/4 ton for sure.
What about just buying that one and then selling it eventually, using it for the short term?
I considered that. In the comment section here, someone says to put seats in the bed like a Subaru Brat, and I tried that. She wasn't going to have it. I was like, but we did it as kids, and she's like, no, not going to do it. I said, I'll put a nice bench seat back there. We'll make sure that both the window in the canopy and the window in the truck open so you can talk through them. Make sure there's seat belts. And she's like, no, not going to do it. It's cold back there. I'm like, that's fine. They're kids. They can bundle up.
My main concern would be making sure you got a good roll bar in there.
I wish that was her thing too. And I said, I can build a little hoop back there for crush protection. We can make that happen.
Nope.
So
Right.
not,
You
No.
might need something than just a little hoop. You might need to
I
cape
mean,
the whole bed.
they put those little hoops in like Miatas and stuff because the cab would provide that rollover protection. You'd only need a hoop a little bit farther back, and as long as it was braced against the frame somehow. But it doesn't matter. She's not going to let it happen. So
Mama put her foot down, huh?
yeah, I didn't think she'd go for it anyways.
I
Yeah,
don't think most
worth a
parents
shot.
nowadays would.
Yeah, most parents.
I
Yeah.
would. My wife wouldn't. I know
Okay,
I
that much.
rephrase that to most moms then.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's most moms, honestly. Yeah.
Screw those kids, right?
Yeah. Well, Ben, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've been busy, crazy. I ordered new computer. You guys know how much mine suck lately, so I battled it out with my wife and got her to cave, and then I took that budget and threw it out the window and doubled it.
That's that's how building that stuff goes.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, I can go with this processor for $100 more. I can get a whole lot better processor. So like my processor that I bought for the computer is what I paid for this laptop. So just to give you an idea, um, I got a 2 terabyte hard drive because like all the audio editing I do, I'm constantly deleting and adding stuff and deleting stuff. So it's just it's time for a new computer, especially with this live streaming now. I needed more umph. Um, outside, I'm picking that up tomorrow. I'm so excited. I was hoping to have it today for the show, but my buddy who helped me build it, he had work, so didn't work out for that. Other than that, I got 2 winches. One of them sitting right here. It's a Warren Xeon 10S. I decided to upgrade from the I had the
VR.
VR series, and I decided, I wanted to upgrade. So I'm probably gonna take my winch line that I have, the
The
safety line,
sparkle line.
my sparkle line. There we go. I'll put my sparkle line on it. And so I'm pretty stoked. It's a bit better of a winch, so I'm excited for that. Um,
You got to put a line on it anyways. They don't come pre-strung, so you might as well put that one
yeah,
on.
Yeah, yeah. So I've got that, and then I was at my dad's house after a Christmas party, and he had an old Bellevue winch sitting there, a Warren Bellevue. So I'm like, "What's that for, Dad?" And he's like, "Oh, I got it for my Cherokee, and it won't fit, so it's just been sitting there." I'm like, "Okay, I'll take it." So I've got a project winch. Don't know if I'll do anything with it, or I might just make sure it works and sell it and get something out of it. But I'm thinking I might do something with it. Who knows? We're talking about building up a Jeep or something for Henry in the next couple of years. Kind of a project that he can help work on. We'll see. Or maybe Sarah will get a forerunner.
I doubt it.
Uh,
But you can hope.
One can hope. One can hope. Outside of that, I finally got my garage all cleaned up, so I can bring the rooftop tent in and start working on it. And now it's just deciding when I want to start because I've got some camping I want to do in it. Um, so it's like, do I want to do it before I do some camping or after? What about you, Jeremy? What's new?
I don't know what's going on over there, but
I
I
uh,
don't
think
know. I'm gonna go yell
I
at them
think
for
Ben's.
whatever it is.
I think they're having a birthday party back there.
No, my 4-year-old is fighting with my 6-year-old and 8-year-old. It sounds like so. And
well,
someone actually mentioned mounting the winch on the rear, and I actually thought of that, but I don't know if it's practical for what I
I
do.
I don't think so.
What's the? I don't know what a Bellevue style winch is.
So, do you
Is
remember
that
when we were? You
the
remember when we were out?
4182?
Yeah, it's like the 4182, but it's before that, I believe.
Okay.
Very similar style. It's got the manual clutch and brake and all that. I could pick it up and bring it over here, but that's too much work. It's really heavy.
Well,
Mm.
moving on to what I've been up to, I got my spare mounted. So this is the first beadlock wheel that I had been mounting. So I figured I'd just practice with the spare. Plus, I'm waiting for some monster valves to come in for the rest of them. But I thought, my spare is not a trail spare. It does or is only a trail spare. It doesn't get rotated into the tire, so I don't really care if that one doesn't have a monster valve until I go to 40s. So I went ahead and just mounted that one up. It went pretty smoothly. I mean, it just takes a lot of time because you're continuously torquing like 24 bolts.
Is that all? Only 24?
Maybe it was 32 bolts. I can't remember now. I could count, but what's the point? It would
Yeah.
just be boring radio. um, other than that, I changed out my tranny fluid and my oil and transfer case fluid, and found out I had lost a bump stop, so I ordered some replacements, and then installed my rear anti-rock. So I still need to reroute the brake line because that gets rerouted, but that's also nice because it gives you're not going to catch it with a tire at full stuff. So it's something that a lot of people do anyway. You have to do it for the anti-rock, so I figured, well, now is a good time to do it. So I need to do that. But other than that, the anti-rock is installed and ready to go. Well,
No no Twitch followers today.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
what's that about? Jeez. Oh, yep, done. So I figured since it was just Christmas, I want to know what you guys got. We'll start with Aaron.
Okay. Well, I got a 22 lever action Henry. I've been wanting one of these forever.
Is that a
Um,
golden boy, right?
no, I don't like the gold receivers on those guns. I think it just looks really tacky.
Blasphemy.
Nah, they're tacky.
That being said, the 22 LR one in my safe is just a black receiver.
Yeah. So I got one of those for my wife. I got some ammo. I got LED string lights for camping. Pretty neat.
What was your wife's budget this year? Jeez.
And then I got an electric lighter that I just burned myself on right when the show was starting. I don't know. I don't know what got into me, but I decided to touch the flame portion. Here we go. I'll get it going.
And
Oh, that's one of
funny.
those. I've had one of those. Those are kind of nice. The only thing I don't like about them
Focus.
What's the only thing you don't like about him?
is I've gotten crap stuck in there and then it doesn't work.
So it has a USB recharging port right there on it. It says it can be recharged 300 times. So I've been playing with it for a week now, and it hasn't lost its charge yet. So it should go quite a while.
Yeah. It's funny because that was my gift to you. And when you
Yeah.
got it, you said, you haven't burned yourself yet. I believe was the text you sent me.
Yeah, I did. So it is because it's electricity, it got me good. It's got to be like what a taser does. So I'm curious if you can light paper on fire with like one of those taser things.
I think that's probably even hotter than what a taser would do, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Because I just like swiped my thumb at it really quick. I don't know why, and it got me.
I
So
mean, it lights fires. It's hot.
yep. Well, no, I mean it didn't feel hot. It felt like electricity.
I see.
But it definitely burned me. Yeah, it burned me. So
So it was hot.
yep. For Christmas, it looks like Eric Ewer's got a knock in his engine.
That's not
So
good.
that's not a good Christmas present.
And he just got that one too.
I know. I feel bad because we kind of helped steer him towards that rig.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you and I didn't test drive it with him. That's on Ben.
I test drove and there wasn't any weird noises.
I'm still saying it's on you, man.
Yeah.
You're the one that test drove it.
Someone just wrote into the comments that they've got a Henry Golden Boy chambered in 17. Chad, is that 17 HMR or what 0.17 is that exactly? I think there's
HMR, but
there's HMR and then there's like WMR or something like that, WSM, or I'm not sure. There's a couple different 17s. Yeah. Well, Ben, what did you get for Christmas?
Well, I got Bigfoot.
you gotta explain that, because when you
Yeah,
told
I do,
me before the show, I had no idea what you were talking about.
So behind me, I've got a plywood cutout of Bigfoot. My little sister got it for me for the studio. So a little something to stick behind me. She's, I guess, jealous of your guys' backgrounds or something. I don't know.
She watching the show?
She watches it every now and then. She's got a little XJ, one of those disposable heroes. And then I got some throwing knives. Technically, the computer falls under that, and then some Patriot patch ornaments. I was pretty happy.
Oh, that's right.
And then Jake sent those to me, and it was like a really cool, happy surprise. It's like, hey, Christmas present from Jake. That's cool.
Have you been able to use those throwing knives yet?
I have not.
Keep them
And
away
you
from
know,
the
that's funny. There was a note in there with those that said something along the lines of "Don't stab yourself,
Yep.
or hurt yourself." And my wife was like, "Oh, he must know you have I have life insurance on you. Like, did you up the policy now?"
Yeah.
She actually sent them. It wasn't me.
So yeah. Well, what about you there, Jeremy? What's new?
So
Presents.
beyond the things that you guys gave me, the nice picture on a log around that's behind me, and then that I think, did we talk about the other one, the I can't remember what it's called. It's the putty that's flammable.
The fire putty?
That's what it's
Yeah.
called. Fire putty.
I don't think so.
No, I thought we talked about that on the show.
I think
Did we?
I think we did.
Oh, maybe we did.
But from everybody else, I got a Moab book, which I'm really excited about because, well, we'll talk about it later in the show. I got a new camping table, so I'm actually planning on getting rid of my the drawers that I built for the Jeep. I love them, but they're just heavy,
Yeah.
and so I think I'm gonna lighten it up and just go with something else. And part of that was I wanted a nice table that folds up really small. So I ended up getting an aluminum table that you fold out the legs and then you unroll the top. And so it packs up really nice and small. So I'll probably go ahead and sell the drawers now. And then I also got a new ratchet set. So I got this ratchet set here. It's Husky brand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 144 tooth ratchet. So it's way better than the one I was using. The one I was using is just this, Craftsman special.
Is it like a 16 tooth one?
I think it was a 20. This is probably where I was thinking 24. I think this one's a 24 tooth. And so it's very, very harsh. I don't know if that's coming through on the
Yep.
Yep. And then the equivalent half inch drive is just really, really fine. So I'm pretty excited about that. I haven't gotten to put them to use yet, but obviously I've got a lot of installs left to do on the Jeep, so I'm pretty excited about that. There's been a couple times where I definitely was wanting for a finer tooth ratchet, which is why it ended up on my list. Because as I was pulling these things off in some of those areas that just had terrible clearance as you're trying to ratchet, you're like, man, I can get another 1/4 of an inch of swing each rotation if only I had a better ratchet.
Yeah.
And so
Been
that's
there,
why
done
I'm on the list. And thankfully my mom got it for me. So I was super happy about that.
Eric mentioned that you're looking fancy with your champagne flute.
Oh yeah. Well, I was going to talk about it later, but I actually drank it all already. But since it's our New Year's episode, end of the year episode, I have a little bottle of champagne to go with tonight's episode, but it's already gone. So I guess I should just talk about it now.
Pounded it.
And not really. I mean, I my mistake was opening it at the beginning of the show, and then having to hear Ben talk.
It's just like going to the movie theater and eating your popcorn during the
Yeah, pretty much.
intro,
Yep, that's what
the
happens.
previews. Yeah.
And then you gotta go out at the start of the movie to fill up.
Oh, we don't ever get the big one.
The refills.
Yeah, no, we don't do that.
Hey guys, we're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an Off-Road Podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
So this week's feedback comes from YouTube on a video that I posted of my run of Trail 55. I think this was my run of 55, not the run that I did with Ben on my dirt bike. So this four-wheel drive Trek comments, I like Trail 55, how it offers extra little obstacles on the side that are optional. Easy for those people who are new, but also has the potential for getting stuck, like in my most recent video posted. So he is 100% right. I love that about Trail 55. It can be anywhere from, there's a few obstacles that are mandatory that might get you hung up, but even on a moderate build, you can get by them as long as you choose the right line. But there's a whole lot of side obstacles that you can go over and do some rock crawls that are going to be a little bit harder for you. I heard that they just went through and updated that trail. So I'm excited to get the Jeep built, and that's probably going to be one of the first trails I hit for a shakedown run.
Nice. Well, we also want to thank our sponsor Patriot Patch for their awesome patches and stuff that they give to us, and for hosting our show. I just got some patches in the mail from them. I bought some stuff right before Christmas, and it showed up. Unfortunately, thanks to the post office, I paid for 2-day shipping, and it took 6 days to get here. But I got some stuff for my nephew. He's in boot camp right now, and apparently he's going to be a grenadier when he gets back. So I got him the Real Men Carry 40 patch, which is a cool one. But I also got this one, is a Drive Hard Don't Die, a Jeep JK flexing out on the rocks. I don't know why my camera won't. There we go. That's a good one. And then I got this one, which is American flag made out of PMags. So that's another cool one from them. And they just released yesterday, I believe, their January patch of the month. Did you guys see that one?
I have not.
No.
It's a slot machine, and it's something about what's coming in for 2021, and unfortunately all the wrong things are lining up.
Oh, I did see that one.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize it was their patch of the month.
Yeah, it's the January patch of the month.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
Pretty excited for those to come out.
Yes, indeed.
The news is brought to you by Power Tank, the ultimate mobile onboard.
Oops, that was the wrong one.
Yeah.
I'm here with Andy from Warren Industries for today's recovery tip. Today, we're going to talk about selecting a winch.
When you're selecting a winch for your truck or SUV, it's a pretty simple formula. Basically, you'll take the vehicle's gross vehicle weight rating, oftentimes found in the door jamb. and multiply it by 1.5. That will give you a minimum pulling capacity. So if you have a vehicle that has a 5,500 pound gross vehicle weight rating and you multiply that by 1.5, you're going to get just under 8,000 pounds. So it's probably a good idea to go up to about an 8,000 pound winch. You can go up a little bit higher, say to a 10,000 pound winch. That's not going to harm the vehicle, but you're going to want to use a little common sense on this. If you're driving a Jeep CJ5 or maybe a Suzuki Samurai, don't put a 12,000 pound winch on the front. You could actually damage the vehicle's frame, or it could even pull itself off the bumper. But if you go by the minimum pulling capacity and then maybe a little bit more if you need to, you should be totally okay.
And I guess I probably should have prefaced that by saying that was going to be winching tips with Andy, but that was winching tips with Andy.
Yeah, we plan on bringing those back, so be on the lookout for those. And if you've got a request for a winching tip, let us know because we've got Andy coming on again soon.
Absolutely. And I guess when you've been away from the show for a couple of weeks, you forget how to run it properly.
The news is brought to you by PowerTank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
Well, this has kind of been the hot buzz these past couple weeks. The Toyota base camp. It's a hot buzz, I think, because it's a Toyota product. Honestly, it's
Yep.
a Toyota truck bed on a frame that you pull as a trailer. So nothing revolutionary in my book, and it sounds like I'm kind of pooping on it here, but it really has some cool stuff. Has some cool stuff on it, but honestly, it's a truck bed. So, did you guys see all the things that it comes with?
I did. So it has that scissor lift to elevate the rooftop tent, which is something that a lot of guys add to their trailers. I know you kind of have something similar. I know it's not the same, but it's something similar. But it's nice because you can keep that center of gravity nice and low until you're actually camping, and then get some elevation under it. I saw the fishing pole holder, which seems a bit of a gimmick, but okay. Heck, I like fishing as much as the next guy, but who says you just can't put a little a rod case in your truck bed?
So I think that they had Bass Pro or somebody like that outfit the trailer for them. So I think that's why there was several fishing related accessories.
That's fair. I also saw that it had the toilet, which is good for Ben's wife.
Yep, she loves a good can.
Speaking of which, there's always a trash can. There's also a trash can.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they listed that as a feature: a custom built toilet and a trash can. Okay.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's what they're going to be saying in all their reviews. That this one has the best toilet available.
Uh-huh.
Some other highlights are a fridge, a water heater, a shower with a curtain, which is always nice. I never really got the people that do the showers out in the middle. I don't know. It's 6 or 1.5 dozen. I don't like being naked in front of everybody, so I would appreciate the curtain.
Yeah.
Had a generator, and
Everybody else would too.
yeah, I know, absolutely. It has the generator, the 16-gallon freshwater tank, and 15-gallon gray water tank. Optima batteries, so they came in on that. Obviously, has a yellow top. Slide out sink and stove. Some rigid LEDs. It's on 33s. Not sure what you're going to be able to do to lift it, but I would assume that you could probably just take the rear end of a Tacoma lift kit and lift it up to get some bigger tires. And there's no word on the suspension or axle setup yet.
Yeah,
so
so
we're gonna have to do a lot with lifting it up.
yeah, I would be shocked if they put like a Tacoma rear end underneath it, because that would kind of be a waste. It would be expensive, and it would be tricky to try to get the brakes to work because there are hydraulic brakes. So you'd have to figure out a way to make the hydraulic brakes work when everybody's got electric brake setups and stuff like that. So my guess is it's going to have either a standard solid axle or it'll have like the Timbren style axles. But I would feel like my gut tells me if it had the Timbren style axleless suspension, then they would have said that. So that makes me think it's got a solid axle and leaf springs.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Would have been smarter to go with the Timberens for what they have there.
But if it is leaf sprung, then probably the Tacoma rear lifts would work to try to lift that thing up.
You might not need to lift it though. I mean, if it's on 33s and it's clearing, it's probably fine.
Yeah, but if you're on 35s maybe and you want a full size spare. Now, a lot of the Toyota guys don't go past 35. So I guess you wouldn't have to lift it too much. But I mean, if you take a look at the picture, that wheel is already pretty far up into that wheel well.
Yeah.
I was surprised it came with 33s. So,
Well, I mean, generally that's what people like to do, right? Is like the first thing is let's go to 33s.
yeah, for sure. But
And if you're buying
their
a
truck
like that-
their trucks don't come with 33s.
no, they don't.
So Darwin says it's a good thing it has a curtain and a water heater, so you can't blame it on the cold water. What I thought was funny with this article is they don't call it a water heater; they call it a hot water heater. No one heats hot water
You just want it hotter.
unless you want it hotter water.
So is that the feature that's going to make everybody's wife stay in the shower longer and take up all the water?
Probably.
Because
Maybe
it doesn't have
maybe it
that
comes
big
with-
of a tank.
Maybe it
Nope.
has a pump too that you can portably fill it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some option, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, our next article here is about retro Land Rovers in the UK are going to get electrified. And when I saw this article, the first thing I thought of was the Cars 2 movie,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
That was the same thing with me. I thought of Cars too.
So the bad guy, spoiler alert, the bad guy in the Cars 2 movie was a Land Rover that was supposedly electric, but turns out he wasn't.
Do you have to give a spoiler alert or when the movie came out in 2006?
No,
No,
that
no,
was
No.
What was the
never.
original? 2011.
that was a joke.
Ah,
That was the funny part about it, was throwing the spoiler alert for a 10-year-old movie.
Yeah. almost 12 year or yeah, never mind. You're right. 10.
Good job, engineer.
Hey, I'm on Christmas closure, which is why I'm actually here today. So I have not been worried about actually thinking recently.
So it's going to be for the body style from 1970 to 94. They're doing the 3-door and the 4-door models, regular and long wheelbase. They're only going to make 50 of them, which to me isn't very many. And they're making like 2 different versions: a town model where apparently they're focusing on driver comfort and they're making the back seat nice and cush in case you've got a chauffeur or something that will drive you around. Yeah. And then they're making the country model, which they say is perfect for off-roading and it'll have fresh engineering. And it says 0 about what the off-roading model will have that will make it perfect for off-roading or have fresh engineering. So kind of
Interesting.
curious.
Has me really curious.
They put some all-wheel drive tires on it.
All-terrain tires.
Sure.
Maybe because it doesn't have a Land Rover drivetrain in it anymore. It's perfect for off-roading. It's not going to break down on you.
Well, it's always been perfect for off-roading. It's just how far you're going to get and whether or not you're going to get home.
Yeah. Everything's perfect for off-roading.
If you're a gambler.
Yep.
EBG.
So, so Eric says he's not going to watch the movie now that we've spoiled it.
Oh, sorry, Eric. Sorry, not sorry. You had your chance.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, like I said earlier, this is our last episode of the year of 2020. So we thought that we would do a year in review, and we're just going to start off with Ben. What was your favorite episode this year?
You know, it's funny you think about it. It's actually the listener ride we did with Coy. I've known Coy over the interwebs for the last couple of years, and he's like, we've tried to meet in person, never worked out. Finally got to meet him on the podcast, and then actually got to go wheeling with him, and got to actually become friends with him. So it was cool to get him on the show.
What a kiss up.
I know, jeez. I think my favorite episodes, I don't know, it's a tie. And this was mostly because of the guests, but partially because I ended up learning a lot. But it would probably be the Milestar and the Metal Cloak interviews. Everybody was just good to hang out with, and there were just a lot of good information on those two shows.
Yeah, they were,
But
they
maybe
were good episodes.
But maybe that's because I was looking at their parts to buy for my Jeep build. So maybe I'm biased.
Shopping while podcasting.
Hey, you got to do research for podcasting, and you got to do research for putting things on your rig. So,
Yeah,
two birds, one stone.
that is for sure. Well, mine was when we had George on from Vancouver about when he got stuck down in the Black Rock Playa. So that episode was called "Don't Hate the Playa, Hate the Game." So that was a good episode, and I really appreciated his honesty with how he got stuck and the things that could have prevented it, and his learning throughout the whole experience. So he didn't just blow it off, and he was definitely humble.
That was a really cool episode, and it takes a big man to admit when you've made mistakes like George did, and really hey, this is my mistakes. And actually, I watched a video. The guys that went out and rescued him and made the video for rescuing him,
Mm-hmm.
they were out there a couple months ago, fixing up the playa what hadn't been fixed naturally.
Oh,
They
really?
brought like not a disc, but a kind of like a leveler, and scrape the ground, kind of level it out for where all the tracks were. So by next year, it should look like you won't even be able to tell he was there.
So, I remember on the episode they were talking about how he wasn't going to get fined if it kind of went back to its natural state. Right? Am I misremembering that?
Yeah. No, you got that right.
Do you remember how long that was? Was it just a year?
I don't know.
I don't know, and I think with what just happened for the work out there, that he'll be fine. Might be worth going back and re-listening to that episode, which the link is in the show notes.
Definitely is. Yep. Well, next topic here is what kind of rig modifications we've done to our off-road rig this year. And for me, I've done squat as far as modifying it. I haven't done a single thing. For me, it's a run what you brung until I take it to the next level. So I've just done some maintenance, and I've actually been pretty lacking on that as well.
Slacker.
Well, I guess I'll go next. I know I installed the switch pod recently, and I did the anti-rock. I'm pretty sure I did the skid plates and sliders and winch upgrade last year, so I'm not going to include those, but I'm having a hard time remembering everything I've done to my Jeep. But more recently, I've definitely removed a lot of stuff. I'm not counting things I haven't put on the Jeep yet as Jeep mods for this year, though.
Well, yeah, that's because they won't start until next year, right?
Yeah, that's under gear I bought this year.
Didn't you do like sliders?
I thought that was last year, but maybe it was because I got the Jeep in fall, and I thought the sliders were on before.
That could be. That
Or
could be the sliders.
I
Yeah,
think
I can't remember.
I think I did the sliders on our last Christmas closure, so probably about this time last year.
The last Christmas closure.
Yeah, my work does a 10-day Christmas stand.
Oh, I
every
see.
year.
Must be nice.
Well, I mean, I have to take my own leave, but it is
Oh,
nice
I
to have
see.
that. It is still nice to have that built-in time where nobody expects you to be in the office anyway, so you can kind
That's
of
good.
leave without guilt because my job does not lend for leaving without guilt.
Yeah.
We need you. You're not here. So this year for myself, I actually left this out because I didn't realize that it was this year. Is I did the snorkel. That's about it for major mods. I did switch out my headlights. I got some arc LED headlight bulbs, and they're designed for projector housings. Way better for headlights. Outside of that, it's not been much, nothing major besides the snorkel, and that was I did it for dust management and to help with 35s, and it's been an improvement.
Darwin wrote into us and said that he's modified his rig this year by letting the muffler rust off.
You don't need that anyway, unless you're in
No.
California.
Straight pipe it. Well, so the next one here is we got equipment we've acquired. I should I just start off with what I've got?
Might as well.
All right. Well, I got a rooftop tent and some recovery gear. I got a winch extension. So I got my El Cheapo hard shelled rooftop tent that I've got to fix up, and that's been about it. Well, I guess I got the winch too. So yeah, nothing super major exciting for me. What about you, there, Jeremy?
Well, the wife told me I had to include the baby because the baby was born in February, and she said that has to be first. So,
Does she read our show notes?
no, but sometimes occasionally I'll ask her if she has any good add-ins for questions and stuff. And I did today, and she said you have to include the baby somewhere in this recap. And she said it had to come before the Dana 60s. So here's the baby. Other than that, I mean, I've purchased a ton of stuff. I haven't gotten all of it yet. So obviously, I purchased the Dana 60s. I got new wheels, new suspension, new shocks because I bought the shocks separately. Obviously, the switch pod. I got a winch extension. I mean, the list is huge. We're gonna have to do a build recap when I finally get this thing done to make me go through and remember everything that's gone into it.
There we go.
How about you, Aaron? What have you gotten?
I didn't get much. I've acquired a few more paper maps, which I know I've talked about. Loving my paper maps. I bought a multi-purpose fuel can, multi-use for my property. So it's a 13-gallon portable fuel container that I keep it full of fuel so my son can fill up his go-kart. We can use it around the farm for anything else that needs gas, and it fits nicely inside my pickup truck vertically as 13 gallons of reserve fuel. Since I get such terrible fuel economy and driving with a lead foot doesn't help, having 13 gallons instead of 5 or 10 is a big bonus.
And doesn't it have like a hose and like a pump to fill?
Not a pump, but it has a hose and then a squeeze handle at the end of it, just like a gas pump squeeze handle.
Oh, so it just primes itself then.
It's just gravity feed. So
Okay.
and then I got some LED string lights. I mentioned that I got those for Christmas. Bought this. I talked about this before. Also, the disco bed that I bought. It's basically a collapsible bunk bed, and it'll allow us to move. So right now my son sleeps on a cot in the bottom of our rooftop tent. Now I can put both of my kids down there, and my wife and I can have the entire upper rooftop tent all to ourselves. That's a
So
big bonus.
doesn't that disco bed also turn into like a couch style chair?
Yeah, you can, but it is so uncomfortable. It's ridiculous. So
Is it? Oh, okay.
it's
Not even worth it.
yeah, nah, not worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not trying to relax and sit back, but if you need a place to sit down, it works for sitting down. But if you try to put your back against it, it's terrible. There's a pipe right in the middle of your back.
Yeah.
Ugh, that
Yeah.
sounds bad.
Yep. And then I also got a solar generator, so small battery thing, and the purpose of that is just to keep things charged while I'm camping, and I can connect my solar panels into it to keep it charged and things like that. So it's just a
So
nice
did you
addition.
get that because you liked my Jackery? Because I know we used that quite a bit on the Nevada trip.
I did. I loved the fact that every time on that trip, every night we were making mixed drinks with ice, and that was the coolest thing in the world. I'm like, I need to buy a little Ninja blender, and I need to buy a battery pack.
Then the funny thing was pina coladas, and they were virgin ones for you.
Yeah, virgin pina coladas for Aaron.
Then you can make milkshakes every night.
Yeah, there we go.
So off to the next thing. Favorite trip for 2020. So I guess I'll start with mine. Mine was definitely Browns Camp. I cannot wait to get back out to Browns Camp once the Jeep is fully put back together. I am super excited for Browns Camp. That was a really fun trip. Yeah.
Yeah, you enjoyed losing that nut and having to drive home with a trail fix.
Yeah. I mean, it was all fun and games. You know, nothing
It adds
nothing
to the
serious
stories.
happened. We weren't stuck for long. We got it fixed within half an hour, 45 minutes or so, and we're able to drive it back to the hardware store to get the right nut. So
I honestly enjoyed the fact that you were able to put your GoPro on it and Wi-Fi it to your cell phone and watch it while we drove.
well, it's important to know if you're going to die.
Uh-huh.
Not that it would have given me enough time to do anything about it. Although I will say that, so just to remind everybody, the nut on my drag link backed off, and we're pretty sure it was gone for a while.
Mhm.
And we wheeled for quite a while with it. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it was not a benefit, but actually a downside. That so I have a flipped drag link. So the drag link normally bolts. The bolt goes through the bottom. You put the nut on top. Mine is a flipped drag link, so you bolt it from, and that's to correct some steering geometry, but you bolt it from, it goes in from the top and the nut goes on the bottom. And that's kind of what kept it together for as long as it did. But I guess if it was not that way, we may have been able to, well, we would have known there was a problem a lot sooner because the drag link would have just fallen out. And I kind of think that that is probably better because it doesn't just fall out on you while you're going highway speeds. It'll actually probably stay in for highway pretty fine. It was just when flexing out that I think it finally came out. But yeah, I have mixed emotions about that, but it worked out.
Well, my favorite trip in 2020 was going to Nevada. I went 3 times, and all 3 of them were with different groups of people, and I had an amazing time each 3 times. Actually, funny thing, I was talking to my wife. Sorry, I was talking with my wife, and my sister was in on the conversation, and we were talking to my sister about how my mother-in-law wants to move down here from Washington to be closer to her family, and my sister said, "Well, how's that going to work in 6 years when you move to Nevada?" And I'm like, "We're not moving to Nevada, Idaho maybe, but not Nevada." So my sister apparently thinks that I like Nevada so much that I want to move there.
I think if I was going to move right now, I'd go to Sand Hollow, Utah.
Yeah,
That'd be a
that would
good
be
place
pretty
to be.
sweet.
Ben, favorite trip?
Uh, it's gonna be Nevada. I mean, it was the only major trip I took. The rest of it was all lots of small camping trips, but it was Nevada. I had the most fun. I wish my wife would have been there. It would have made it that much better. But there's next year. So
Yeah, I'm bummed she didn't come on that. I feel like if she would have gone and then she would have interacted with the ladies, that she would have maybe enjoyed coming out more and interacting more and things like that.
so the camping trips I've done this year have been with other people and their friends and stuff, like Pete, Pete and his wife, Jamie and the lot gals and all that. So she's definitely not afraid to go on trips. We're trying to figure out some more trips to get going. Like we'll talk about later.
Well, I do think that would help for my wife because my
Oh,
wife is pretty hesitant to come on long trips with me. But I think if she got that female companionship in a trip, she might like the long trips more.
definitely.
Yeah.
I can say like my wife and I big fight, and then I got her to start going out with me on those camping trips regularly. It was mind altering how different it is for her because now she's like, "Oh, when are we going camping?"
I know it changed my wife's perspective as well, because she was hesitant to come on that trip, and then she had a lot of fun, especially because there was women along. She had a really good time and made new friends and things like that. So
Definitely.
yeah, I think we still do need to have a episode where our wives come on and talk.
So
Hopefully,
instead of
hopefully
you
not
guys
complain.
making fun of me, it'll just be my wife making fun of me.
Yeah.
No, no, no. She likes to let us sit back and do it for her, so she doesn't feel bad, but she still feels like you learned your lesson because you were made fun of.
Oh, she still loves making fun of me. It's like the thing that makes her world go round.
Well, everybody's got to have their passion.
Yep.
Well, let's talk about events and trips that got canceled or that we didn't make it on. For me, it was Scotland. I was supposed to go to Scotland in May this year for 10 days, 10 days of overlanding in Scotland, visiting castles. Three of the nights were going to be in an Airbnb. All the rest of the day, or well, days and nights, were going to be overlanding all over Scotland. And I'm really bummed, and I am concerned that the world might not be opened up again this year in May for me to do it. So it's a big bummer. Super looking forward to that trip. I'm not really a big fan of traveling out of the US and going to other places, only because the US has so much to offer. I don't feel like I need to go out of the US. I could explore the US my entire life and thoroughly enjoy it, but it's something my wife wanted to do, and when I found out I could rent a Land Rover Defender all kitted out, then it kind of spurred me on to join up.
Yeah, that's kind of that big compromise for that, right? You get to
Hmm.
overland and explore, and she still gets to go to Scotland.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about whether or not it was looking like you were going to be able to go in 2021. I'm
Yeah.
kind of thinking it's not going to happen, but I'm really hoping for your sake it does.
Yeah. And I honestly, I don't know if I would want to go if it was gonna be like kind of open and you can't eat at restaurants and you have to be masked up everywhere you go. I don't think I would want to go do that.
I have a feeling that there's a chance that it might clear up and be a little easier too. But it's because there's a vaccine. There's what, two vaccines now?
I don't know.
Yeah, but May's coming up pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
Yep. Yep. We'll have to see what time brings us, right? And I guess here I'll jump in with mine is missing out on Browns camp. I was supposed to go and I got canceled last minute and it sucked. That and our Christmas show,
But
our toy show, our toy drive.
you say it got canceled, but it didn't get canceled.
I canceled me going. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
I definitely do agree that I missed out. I missed the Christmas off-road car show this year.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna have to bring it back next year.
Mhm.
Oh, definitely.
But we just figured it would be a lot easier to just not worry about it for this year. But we definitely
Especially
missed
with
it.
our governor.
Yeah. For me, it was missing out on the Nevada trip. So my trip got canceled my participation in Nevada got canceled because of the bent axle. That was like
Yeah.
right before that trip. I found out that the axle was bent, and
Should have just thrown like a trailer axle underneath it and did it in 2-wheel drive. You would have been fine the whole way.
if I still had the stock shaft, I might have just thrown the stock shaft back in. But the problem is I had those RCV. All I had was the RCV shafts.
Yeah.
I would have ruined
Yeah.
the shaft if I had done it.
Yeah. And you were able to sell those for several $100s. So
Yes.
yeah, that would have been a bummer to ruin them.
Yeah. But the thought did cross my mind, that's for sure. So as this year is 2020 and people always say that hindsight is 2020, I thought we had to include this question. So what is your biggest or best hindsight moment for 2020? I'm going to start out and say that it's probably if I had to do my Jeep over again, I probably would have gotten a non-Rubicon to start with, because the only thing that's Rubicon left is going to be the transfer case. And honestly, I probably would have just been better. I guess I traded mine straight across, so it's not really that big of a deal. But if I had been purchasing it, I probably would have been better off with my current build list to just go ahead and take the extra money from not getting a Rubicon and plunking that down for an Atlas.
Yeah.
Because seriously, that's the only thing left.
Well,
Yeah.
there's the Hemi. I mean, there is
Well,
a Hemi.
Yeah, but that's not a Rubicon.
No, it's
No,
not. That's not a Rubicon
It
part.
was only available in that one, right? The AEV Rubicon.
No, you could have gotten the Hemi swap in anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Renegade.
Okay, fine. In any Wrangler.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely never saw the benefit of just buying like a sport. But I mean, my original plan was to wheel it as on 35s for 5 years or so, and then build up to 40. So for that, the Rubicon model made sense because I got the lockers. But yeah, now who knows?
So hindsight wasn't buying a Jeep; it was buying the Rubicon.
Yes.
Okay, I
Getting-
thought maybe you meant that hindsight was buying a Jeep. Period. So
No, I have no problems with my Jeep. I love my Jeep, and I would not want anything else right now.
Eric says you still have the badges.
I think they all get the badges. Oh, just the
The
stickers.
Rubicon badges,
The Rubicon stickers.
stickers, whatever they are.
That trail rated badge goes on everything, even the Trail Hawks. So
Yeah.
they don't mean anything.
Well, I'm gonna have to say mine's snow wheeling in November. Retorque all the things. I think I'm gonna start practicing no wheel November for me in November because I seem to have very bad luck in November.
So those are kind of two different thoughts. You had two different hindsight moments. One was wheeling in November, and the other was what?
Retorque all the things.
Oh, you mean after you've driven it to go ahead and retorque everything so it doesn't come apart and you get stuck in the snow and have to call your boss in order to bring a trailer and a welder
I
in order
I
to...
didn't have to call her; she was with me.
Okay.
They were there with me. I was just
Still.
fortunate.
Well, did you call them on the radio?
Retorque.
No.
Use the right fasteners and use thread locker.
Yep.
And
Loctite.
did you clean your bolts before putting them in?
Yes, I did.
Well, the first time.
No, yes.
Okay.
I,
That's
is-
the other
I-
thing.
yeah,
Thread
I
lock
did.
does not work on a greasy bolt.
And
Yeah.
and greasy bolts will change your torque values as well.
That is
Yep.
true. Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, I think next year will be no wheeling in November, and I'm going to be retorquing my rig more often because.
Well, I don't think you need to torque it more often, but you definitely want to retorque it after you've driven it on something new. And paint pens go a long way.
Yeah, and that's something I've never done to the Forerunner was paint pen stuff, and I'm getting ready to change out my front struts and some other stuff. So paint pens will be coming in handy.
So for me, it was our Browns camp trip. It turned out that I was a little rusty with my driving and had forgotten how everything worked in my truck, and I was trying to trust the downhill descent, and ended up rear-ending Jeremy's Jeep. It's important to remember and reuse things and know how things work before you try to rely on them.
That is true.
Yeah.
And that was, I guess we could include that in that was Rick's wisdom of if you need a locker going up, you need a locker going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I'll take it one farther. I'm going to throw you under the bus. Is maybe park a little farther down the trail if you stop at the bottom of a hill.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about because like I regained regained control way in front of that. So I even thought about it. I'm like, should I
Yeah.
park further down? And I'm like, no, I like got control like 40 feet back.
Yeah. Well, the weight distribution on my rig is a little different. I'm a lot lighter in the back end, and I think my truck overall is heavier, so it's got more momentum. And I
I,
definitely took off like a bat going down that hill.
I think what we really should say is buy a Jeep and not a Nissan.
Yeah, you could easily say that for sure.
Don't tell Eric that.
He might be thinking that right now. Also, he's listening.
Oh, good point. So let's go off with our next one. Rig plans for next year. Um, like I just mentioned, upgrading my suspension. I think I'm gonna get some new struts up front, and then I'm considering on staying on 33s until I can get the rest of the upgrades I want to get.
I
And
thought you said 34s.
I I don't know.
I
Jeremy and I were talking about it, the difference between 34s and 33s, and it almost seems like it might be worth it just to go 33s. I don't know.
If you don't have to do anything to do 34s,
It's
well,
just a little more
and
clearancing.
if the tires cost the same, I would go 34s, but
Yeah,
it might
and
be
it's all
cheaper to get
dates.
33s, especially since you buy used tires. 33s are more available.
I got
I'm
some
I'm
Toyos that I'm going to be taking off here soon.
I'm going with Patagucci's this year. So
At least if you buy them for me, you know they're actually decent tires.
oh, what about you, Aaron?
um, for a trip that I've got coming up this fall, I want to be Titan swapped in my front end, suspension wise, not necessarily the drivetrain. So I got to get on this Titan swap ASAP. So that's going to be replacing the front diff, probably putting a locker in the front diff. The axles will be replaced, and then upper and lower control arms, and the the hub. I can't think of what you call that part that the hub is all attached to, but
Spindle.
the spindle. So yeah, that's
So are you
that's
just gonna
it.
buy a Titan, a wreck Titan, and
Maybe if I can make that work, I'll buy a Rec Titan, but it might not come together like that. I might have to piece parts together. And I guess now that I say that, I will also have to change out the wheels because the Titan hubs are a different bolt pattern, which means I'll need
oh,
to put some wheel spacers in the rear. Um,
I didn't realize
so
that they were different wheel pattern for the Titans.
yep, different lug pattern. So I'll have to get new wheels also. And the idea was to just put 35s on because I got to do new wheels, just do wheels and tires all at the same time. So
Is it a different? I mean, it's not really axle width. Well, I guess it kind of is, but it's not because it's not a solid axle. But does your axle width grow in the front as well?
yeah, 3 inches on each side.
3 inches on each side.
Uh-huh.
How's that going to
So-
do with that rear? Like, would you just want to swap in a Titan rear axle while you're at it?
You'd think so, but you have to cut everything off and re-weld all the different perches in different places because they don't line up. And then you'd also have to find a rear axle with a locker in it, unless you put an air locker back there. So that's 10 grand. Oh, and also regearing. Oh boy, it's getting expensive.
10
But
grand in the locker. It's
no,
8
no. And then a lot of people have done these 3-inch wheel spacers because they've Titan swapped the front end, and they've been running them for years and not having issues. So I'll just buy some Spider Track, some good quality rear wheel spacers, and I don't think I'll have a problem.
famous
So,
last words. That's a lot of extra leverage.
I agree with that, but because so many people have done it, I feel like it's proven. So I'm gonna roll with it.
I'm looking here. The Titan wheel pattern is the same as my Forerunner.
So Ben's trying to sell you his wheels and tires.
No, I'm good.
No, but what I'm saying is it's a 6x139. That means there's lots of options out there because that's a Toyota, Chevy.
Stop it, Rick. Stop it, Rick. Stop it.
Rick says, since you're getting a farm truck, just trade your truck for a Jeep, which I definitely agree with.
Yeah, get a Gladiator. There you go.
No. He doesn't need a Gladiator. He just needs a Jeep because they'll have the farm truck. He also posted after that, Jeep.
I want to keep driving my truck and taking my entire family on trips and pulling a trailer with it. Something that you don't. And my trailer weighs a lot more than Rick's trailer. So, and I bring a lot of stuff camping. So I need the extra space. Yeah. Need the extra space. It's getting expensive, but still cheaper than a Hemi swapped Wrangler, and will break down less than a Wrangler. Break less parts.
You just get the Sport. You go ahead and get the 60s right up front, and you're good.
Yeah. My whole rig will be built for cheaper than a pair of axles.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, Rick had a good point. A new trailer would be cheaper.
But he's still saying that I need a Jeep. So I got to buy a Jeep and a trailer.
Well, I mean, you're going to be selling your existing stuff. So there you go.
I think you guys both need to go back to math school.
They do.
No. It's you just got to do it. Just do it.
Yeah. No.
Well, for me, it's going to be getting this Jeep on tons and 40s. So the last things I need to pick up are obviously the tires. I need the axle, or not the axle shafts, the drive shafts, because I need to put the axles in and then measure. And then the last thing I need is some hydro assist. So after everything's built, it's going to run for a while on 35s, and then maybe this time next year, maybe in the fall.
I doubt it. It's going to be a lot sooner. It's going to be way sooner. You're not going to be able to handle it.
You're going to get a stick through your sidewall, and you're going to be like, "Oh, well, got to upgrade. Sorry, babe."
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it's
no. I can tell it in your voice. You'll hardly make it to summer before you're on 40s.
No, I'm really trying to not bug my wife about spending more money, because she likes to save up for everything, and admittedly I bugged her probably too much, and she ended up agreeing to let us just take it out of savings to go ahead and pay for everything. And I definitely want to honor our agreement to save up everything that we spent in order to before we go to 40s. And I've also reduced my overtime quite heavily while I've been trying with the new job and being a supervisor. It has definitely taken up more overtime than I was hoping that it would, but that's neither here nor there. But we'll see. I'm hoping to stop working as much overtime. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time to save that money all the way back up. I like how Eric said he'll slash his own tires.
Yep.
But
Yep.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'm gonna try to make it work the right way, and it's gonna take a little bit of time, but I'll get there probably about this time next year. I'll be ready to do the RAM and put it on 40s. I think Rick's wanting to volunteer to come over and slash my tires. I don't know what he means by that emoji.
I'm not sure. Well, so I kind of hinted at it here a little bit. Trip plans for next year. I've got a big one coming up that I haven't even planned out yet, but I'm supposed to go to Idaho, then to Moab and Colorado on like a 10-day adventure. So that's a big trip I've got coming up this year. This farm truck that I want to buy is going to be for pulling like a 26 to 30 foot camp trailer. My wife wants to do some camping in state parks, and we talked about buying a trailer for that. So gonna do some state park camping at actual numbered campsites with neighbors and screaming kids.
I can feel how much you hate that.
Yeah. I'm gonna pour one out for my homies.
I will say that the numbered campsites aren't all bad. You can do some pretty good people watching at those.
And unfortunately, people listening.
What do you mean?
It-
Oh,
it
well,
depends-
yeah.
It depends upon it really does depend upon the camping area.
Yeah.
I've been to some state parks where you pull on your part, and it's hard to tell that you have neighbors. It also depends upon the time of year you go to.
Yeah. Well, I told her I'd like to get out every single month of the year and go camping, even if it's just
Up with me.
leaving Friday and coming home Sunday. Dragging the trailer out there, it'll be ready to go, and we'll have a couple different options whether we take the big trailer or the small trailer and just get out and camp. So I am looking forward to sleeping in a real bed and having a refrigerator and not getting rained on if we
So-
do something like that.
What I'm hearing is you need a Jeep so you can flat tow it behind your camp trailer.
Just flat toe it behind his RV. There you go. An RV.
I'm not thinking that that's legal in Oregon, but some other states I know you can. I think Idaho and Montana for sure you can tow doubles with a pickup truck. And then besides that, I got a couple snow trips that I'm being pulled multiple ways to go on in these coming months. So I hope I can make it on all of them.
You have to make it on ours at least.
Well, that's the important one. Like screw
Yeah.
everyone else.
Yeah.
There's only
Well, I
one.
just finally got it in the calendar. I need to share all these dates with my wife and be like, BTW, I won't be around these days.
Yeah.
Hope that's okay.
Otherwise, we're gonna pull your salary.
Yeah. Yeah. Cut my salary in half again.
Yeah. I'll cut your salary twice in half.
twice.
What are you gonna do now?
Then I'll come through and dad tax it.
I mean, you're going to eat my candy?
Exactly.
He lives in Oregon. He already has the income tax.
Yeah, there we go. My trips this year, I've got snow camping. Like Aaron mentioned, we've got our trip. I've got a couple other trips that are in the works, possibly. And then my wife is finally on the what would the word be for this? We are going to Moab. We're going after the kids finish with school this year, so May. And we might head down to was it the Valley of the Giants? I think it is in Arizona. I'm trying to add on and make the trip a little longer.
Do it. Yeah. If you're going far distance, tack it all on.
That was my thought process. I'm like, we can go to your grandparents in Missoula, then we can head down to Moab.
Whoa.
That's a long way.
Yeah, that is definitely a long way.
She wants to go to Yellowstone again, so I'm like, well, we can go to your grandparents.
Yeah, but Yellowstone's in Idaho as well.
But if you go to Missoula, there's a day drive. Go down to Yellowstone, and then we'll have a day or two in Yellowstone. We've been there before. It's not like we need a week in Yellowstone again. and then we can head down into Moab, and then
Yeah, but
into Arizona, and then
I understand why she would want to go see her grandparents. But if you're looking at just Yellowstone, West Yellowstone would be a much better pick, which is in Idaho, which is just an hour and a half or two. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been there, but from Idaho Falls, which is kind of on the way to Moab from here.
yeah, I know.
It's
I-
like a
I-
3-hour detour versus like a 9-hour detour.
Well, the idea is this: just drive there to take a night, and relax and see your grandparents. Other than that, I want to do another Nevada trip, maybe an Alvord Desert trip, because I didn't get to do all the Steens Mountain Loop, so we'll see.
Well, for me, definitely our snow trip is on the list. Beyond that, I'm kind of going to go big and hope for a Rubicon and a Moab trip this year. So I was supposed to go to Rubicon in October, which it got canceled because of obviously the Jeep being in 1,000 pieces. But I am definitely hoping for both of those in this year.
That'd be a good one to be a passenger on, the Rubicon.
Hey, I'm sure I'll have an empty seat, and we can always use camera guys.
Oh, camera guys are the best. Especially when they can run around.
Yeah. And maybe I'll even let you drive. I don't know. As long as it's in November.
Yeah, it's
As
not
long as
November.
it's not November.
I'll make him sign a release that he has to fix anything.
There you go.
You break tons in 40s. I don't know.
Ben can.
Probably, yeah. Especially if it's November.
I tell people all the time, you want a durability test it, send it to my house for a week. Between my kids and I, we'll find out if it breaks.
Well, the durability test for your ankles hasn't worked since your kids dig ditches or traps for you.
Yep. Nope. I've twisted it several times and broke it once. So now I've got
Well-
problems.
Well, we just wanted to point this out again and just ask you guys to send us what your favorite episode was or favorite trip that you guys went on. Do you want to join us on the air for a listener ride or a trip report? You can reach out to us to do that. You can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, or at offroadpodcast@gmail.com.
And thanks everyone who listens to us weekly, and also those who watch us live on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. Totally appreciate you guys. Make sure you're sharing us with your friends and your coworkers and your aunts and uncles and your nieces and nephews, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny. Tell everybody about us. And God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening